So I usually do my homework. I'll find somebody who knows somebody or something. They could give me some information, like, who is it? Like, who is he? And, Frenchie, they got me the tape. They got me the tape of his mother's house, where his mom's work at. You know what I'm saying? The other cribs, the studios, stuff like that.
That's the Cali tape.
Right.
Okay.
I had all of it.
So this is the daughter of the ruler of Dubai, and apparently she uses controversial rule on social media.
Child, leave it to 50 Cent to keep his foot on French Montana's neck. The man always has a troll tucked in his back pocket, ready to pull out whenever French's name slides across the blogs. But this time, it isn't just jokes. 50's latest shade cracked open a much bigger conversation. And it's not just that French Montana is running from industry drama. He might be running straight into something worse, the gold-plated cage of Dubai royalty. On the surface, the headlines sound like a flex. French Montana engaged to a Dubai princess worth $18 billion. To the casual fan, it looks like French finally leveled up from Coke Boy to global kingpin. But scratch beneath the glitter, and the picture gets murky. Word on the street is, French's escape plan has less to do with love and more to do with survival. With Diddy still tangled in federal heat and the feds allegedly collecting evidence on anyone too close to those infamous bad boy freak-offs, French supposedly needed a plan B. And Dubai looked like paradise. But here's the gag. Paradise has shadows too. Folks who know Dubai's underbelly will tell you straight. The towers are shiny, the cars are diamond-encrusted, and the money is endless. But some of those same royals have been accused for years of having appetites so wild, they make Hollywood scandals look like Disney Channel reruns. The whispers about princes collecting pretty boys, about Western celebs being flown out for things too nasty to even print, those rumors didn't just pop up yesterday. So when people see French, a man with a reputation for chasing bags, partying too hard, and cozying up to powerful men for a come-up, suddenly lock arms with a princess and a $7 billion safety net, the math looks a little too convenient. It's not that people don't believe he could love her, it's that they suspect survival may have been the bigger motivation. And this is where 50 Cent's shade cuts deep. When he says French got bought, it isn't just about the engagement ring, it's about the perception that French traded one master for another. He ran from Diddy's mess only to land himself in a situation where he might still have to play the same game, obeying powerful men with too much money and too little accountability. The irony stings. French thought Dubai was his escape hatch. But if the stories about those princes are even halfway true, he might have walked out of Bad Boy's fire straight into Dubai's stove. And unlike the feds, who eventually move on or cut deals, royalty in Dubai plays for keeps. That's why this $7 billion escape plan looks less like salvation and more like another gilded trap. Sure, French may have bought himself time, but at what cost?
Dollar comes out, like we said, and now you have real deals on the table. And out of all those, you go with Diddy.
That's not how it really went.
Was it Diddy? Was it Bad Boy MMG?
Yeah, I went to go see Ross. And Ross was like, I got an opportunity for you. I don't have the money for you, but I got the opportunity. I guess because the same thing Meek did, the same thing Wale did. I guess whatever the way the situation, his label was, he wasn't trying to give me the money I wanted. And I wanted like a whole bunch of money. But he was like, look, let's do it like this. Let's call Puff. And let's get him to give you the bag. You can still be MMG / you know what I'm saying? Bad Boy, Coke Boys, yep.
Right. How much money did you get?
$2 million.
Now, let's rewind. Because you can't understand French's escape to Dubai without first clocking how he even ended up in Bad Boy's orbit. See, French Montana didn't just land that deal by dropping Pop That and calling it a day. Nah, sis. The tea around that signing always had a funky odor. And in light of everything that's been exposed about Diddy over the past 2 years, fans are looking back with sharper eyes. Here's what people forget. When French was shopping for a deal, he wasn't some unknown mixtape rapper. He had options. Roc Nation circled. Rick Ross and MMG showed serious interest. Even Kanye's camp flirted with him. And yet, out of all those tables, he pulled up a chair at Diddy's. Now why would a man with multiple offers pick the one label most famous for bad contracts, shady deals, and extracurricular requirements that allegedly had nothing to do with music? Because child, Bad Boy wasn't just a label, it was a lifestyle. And for some artists, the lifestyle was the real currency. The whispers say Diddy gave French more than a check. He gave him access to the parties, the women, the freak-offs, and the play nice, get rewarded situations, and fans have been side-eyeing ever since. One, because French himself admitted he took less money up front than what Ross or Jay might have offered. But he chose Puff anyway. Two, because every time French was spotted stumbling out of one of those infamous villas looking half dead, the internet clocked it. People dragged up photos and videos from 2016 through 2019 of French looking, let's just say, worn. And the timing always lined up with those weekends Puff was celebrating him. The narrative only got nastier after Diddy's arrest in 2024, when producers and ex-associates started spilling about what it really took to secure deals. One producer even swore Diddy blackballed him after he refused to join a freak-off. So, of course, the streets looked back at French's quick rise and said, "Oh, so you stayed and took the deal? We know what that means." Now, is there a receipt with French's name on it? No, but the circumstantial tea is boiling. You've got Diddy gifting him a Sir French vanilla flavor the day after they were allegedly together all night. You've got that viral birthday video, Diddy in a robe, French shirtless, both looking spent. And you've got French himself saying he wanted the big bag and Puff was the only one willing to hand it over. To the industry, it looked like a regular label signing. To the streets, it looked like a man willing to pay a personal price for career elevation. And that's exactly why people think he's playing the same game in Dubai. Once you've proven you'll trade dignity for opportunity, folks assume you'll do it again, just with a bigger bag and a different master.
Hi, guys.
So, here's where the rabbit hole gets deep. In mid-2024, French Montana pops up at Paris Fashion Week, not just showing off a new fit, but allegedly showing off a fiancé. And not just any fiancé, Shikamaru, a princess tied to one of Dubai's ruling families. Baby, that ain't no degular Bronx love story. That's a chess move. See, around the same time, the feds were building their mountain of evidence on Diddy. The freak-off tapes, the trafficking whispers, the money laundering angles, and anybody in Diddy's inner circle was suddenly radioactive. Artists, assistants, producers, even random friends were getting subpoenaed or grilled. And French? He wasn't just a friend. He was practically Diddy's shadow for years. The birthday trips, the champagne endorsements, the constant cosigns. If prosecutors wanted to make their case airtight, French was a name that had to come up. So what does he do? He doesn't just leave the country. He links himself to one of the wealthiest families in the Middle East. According to reports, Shikamaru's family is worth over $18 billion. That's generational money. Oil money. Money that doesn't blink when you mention a $7 billion fortune. And when you marry into that, you don't just get wealth. You get protection. You get a new passport. You get residency in a place that does not play about outsiders digging through their business. The streets say French ain't in love. He's in survival mode. They point to how quickly the engagement happened, how conveniently it lined up with the heat back in the States, and how French has been spending more time in Dubai than in New York or LA. To his fans, it looks like a whirlwind romance. To his critics, it looks like an escape plan dressed up in Cartier and wedding vows. And don't forget the optics. Every time French posts photos with his princess, he looks cleaner, sharper, almost reborn. But the comments stay messy. Boy, you traded in Diddy for Dubai. Or the even harsher, better hope them sheikhs don't treat you the same way Puff did. Because here's the gag. French thinks he leveled up by running to Dubai. But folks who know the history of how Middle Eastern royals flex power will tell you, sometimes you don't escape a fire. You just walk straight into a bigger, hotter one.
I'll tell you what I actually learned. A friend of mine is an air hostess, and her friend was on a flight with her, and her friend was eating like a very specific diet. So apparently the thing is, it's actually a control thing. I don't know if I can speak about sheikhs.
No, speak.
So these guys actually pay these women to hold a strict diet for like 2 weeks so that they can know that they are in complete control of what that woman is putting into her body, and the girl is shit on them.
Wow.
So the girls aren't even getting shit on, the girls are shit on these guys, because then the guys feel like it's sick, like it's a control thing. So then they know, like, oh, you listened to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's probably their kink, that girls actually listen to them.
No 2-minute noodles.
Can I tell you what I actually learned? A friend of mine was flying with another friend who had a very specific diet. Apparently, the whole thing was about control. These men actually pay women to stick to a strict diet for 2 weeks, So they know they have complete control over what goes into their bodies. And at the end of it, the women are used on them, it's twisted. The girls aren't even allowed to be themselves. They're conditioned, manipulated, and controlled to the point where their obedience becomes the fetish. That's the part French probably doesn't want to hear. Running from Uncle Sam to the UAE doesn't always mean freedom. It might just mean he signed up for a different kind of contract. See, Dubai's reputation is all Lamborghinis, skyscrapers, and pet tigers on yachts. But the whispers have been ugly for years. Influencers fly in wide-eyed chasing tax-free glam, then sneak back home spilling tea about palace parties where people are treated like props, men and women both. Allegedly, some royals don't see outsiders as human. They see them as playthings. And when you're broke compared to their billions, you don't make the rules. They do. Now picture French Montana up against Shikamaru's family's $18 billion fortune. He's not wealthy. He's ornamental. He has no political power, no real leverage. Shikamaru is the daughter of one of the most powerful autocrats in the modern world. French is just pretty, foreign, famous enough to bring shine, but not powerful enough to push back if they decide he's just another accessory. Folks online are already saying the move looks less like escaping Diddy and more like upgrading to new handlers. Only this time, the freak-offs in Miami are replaced with private villas in Dubai. And let's not forget, Shikamaru's family isn't new to global scrutiny. Remember her viral Instagram divorce in 2024? She shocked the world by dumping her husband with just 3 words. I divorce you. Admirable, yes, but also proof of how messy royal life can get. Add in her relatives. Princess Latifah's failed escape attempt, Princess Shamsa's alleged abduction, both tied to their father, Dubai's absolute ruler, and French's new father-in-law. Suddenly, the fairy tale sheen looks cracked. When power that heavy moves against you, freedom isn't promised. That's why people online keep calling this his $7 billion escape plan. On paper, it's genius. Marry into obscene wealth, secure residency, and hide under a royal shield if the feds come knocking. But socially, baby, it's déjà vu. For years, people clowned French as Diddy's boy toy. The shirtless dinners, the birthday serenades, the C-Rock rewards. Now the gossip says he swapped one sugar daddy for a whole dynasty of sugar habibis. The irony bites. Hip-hop sold us French as the underdog hustler. Moroccan grit, Bronx hustle, Coke boy pride. But Dubai royalty don't play like Bad Boy records. You don't outshine them, you don't embarrass them, and you don't outlive your usefulness. If even a kernel of these whispers is true, French didn't escape a velvet leash. He just traded it for a golden cage. So yeah, he left hot water in the States, but in Dubai? Who, baby? He might be sitting right on the stove.
Table, and I'm sure there were some other ones also.
Yeah. I came to Steve Rifkin when I had Chopper Down.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in the office, it was him and Gabi.
Yep.
And Gabi was the manager. I was like, yo, Steve, give me $200,000. Let me go make music. You know what I'm saying? Just let me. Steve was like, nah, I'll give it to you.
Never got it.
Never got it. I dropped
Which is funny because Gabi's the president of SRC. Steve is like the CEO, but
so I don't know what type of
but Steve makes the final call.
Yeah. So I asked for $200,000. You know what I'm saying? And
now here's the gag. In all this chaos, the loudest voice dragging French is 50 Cent. But sit with that for a second. What if 50 ain't just clowning? What if he's really trying to warn him? Because 50 got that big brother energy, the type to roast you nonstop, but still want you to eat at the end of the day. He's been shading French for years, calling him washed, calling him a Diddy leftover. But maybe, just maybe, he sees the trap French is walking into. A trap that doesn't look like chains, but smells just like those velvet cages folks whisper about in Dubai. But flip it. What if this ain't even a trap to French at all? We look at him like, damn, bro, you sold your soul for protection. But what if this is exactly what he wanted? Some folks chase freedom, others chase comfort. French might not see himself as a prisoner in some palace. He might see himself as the chosen one, the Bronx kid who hustled mixtapes and ended up with gold-plated security. We might call it hell, but for him, it could be heaven with AC and a driver on call. That's why 50's jabs sting so much, because deep down, they're laced with truth. Fifth built his legacy on independence, on owning his name, on flipping street power into boardrooms. French, meanwhile, might have flipped survival into servitude, But who's really winning? The man who still has to fight for credibility in rap? Or the man sipping tea behind palace walls, untouchable, scandal-proof, and cashing in on $7 billion worth of insurance? It's messy, it's ironic, and it's the paradox French now lives in. To us, he looks like property. To him, he might feel like royalty. And maybe that's the biggest twist of all. 50 Cent might be dragging him, but French Montana might just be smiling, thinking this was the plan all along.